What's wrong with you?
There's the transition between the intro roll, and the scene. Don't for life of me how to do a transition. How to change a transition. And I know I did it because it doesn't do the transition going to the intro roll. It does that transition. I don't want that transition. I want a different transition. But it may have to wait. Folks is ready, I assume.
I'm ready.
Hello. Oh, my camera died. Somewhere in that process.
Oh no, just kidding.
Yeah, somewhere in the process of getting things ready, my camera died. So, with that in mind, with that fancy new, I love technology. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. We'll start with Evelyn while I get this camera working.
Evelyn Corbin playing Dr. Dasavi Onayet.
Brian.
My name is Brian. I'm playing Captain Jorah Hage. The only thing I have to plug is my cat. She's great. And I'm done.
Yay.
Jack, go ahead.
Yes, hello. Just waiting for my introduction.
Yep, sorry.
Hello, I am Jack. No, you're doing your own thing. I get it. This happens all the time on my channel. Speaking of my own channel, you can find me over at twitch.tv/The People's Ascension, most usually on Saturdays. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, I run a Dungeons and Dragons campaign series. It's a really fun show. A lot more drama and intrigue than the usual comedy D&D that we see a lot of. So if that's more of your thing and you want some more fantasy to go along with the sci-fi we have here, come check that out. I also do all kinds of different just kind of hang out, let's plays, TTRPG related content throughout the week. As for right here, I am excited to be playing Commander Arani Ambrose, and most importantly today, Secret Agent Tong.
Yes. Hopefully that comes out well.
It's going to be horrible. It's going to be terrible.
I'm very excited for it.
I'm very excited for my my Medal of Honor / court-martial ceremony.
Yes. I still have no camera, and I can't figure out why it's not working. So,
did you try turning it off and turning back on?
I did that earlier, but no, not this most recent attempt. I will keep flummoxing with it. While
both in Discord or both physically and on whatever OBS or whatever you're using.
Yeah, I've done it in the OBS. I've tried.
Sometimes it just forgets that cameras exist.
Yeah, no, I've tried that several times. I've even tried switching it. Like I can get my other cameras to work. Like here's my laptop camera, which is terrible and gets a bad view, and and here's the OBS camera, which is the camera that you guys see. So it's just my black magic camera that doesn't want to do anything because it's black magic, and that's how black magic do. You must
You're not supposed to mess with black magic.
Yeah, you have to do black magic
with the
to get
dark
black magic
arts.
cameras to work.
Precisely.
So in the meantime, while we're waiting for me to get this camera working, we can go ahead and start anyways. People don't need to see me. I'm not important. Where did we want to pick up? I should say, because we left off with Secret Agent Tong going into the tube, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Going into the tube, erecting a force field outside the door, and then another one at the entrance to the Jeffries tube after himself.
Right. Let's go ahead and pick up with Tong doing that. Hang on, I'm plugging the camera back in. That's not gonna work. I don't think I got it plugged back in. All right. So Tong, to do a quick recap of the things that you had done earlier. You had discovered that there was some possible infiltration in the room on deck 8. And you had gone to investigate. You had found there was a data chip, a data crystal of some sort that was there that was distinctly not Federation. And then you remembered that this room, being an interior room, has a Jeffries tube behind it. Decided to seal everything off and climb in the Jeffries tube, where you then sealed off the door behind you and began walking down the Jeffries tube. Does that sum it up?
Yeah. I have my my engineer's kit with a little plasma torch out as my only point of defense, and I'm sure I have a tricorder.
Right. All right. One more try on this camera real quick. Huh. I hate this thing. All right. Anyway, so as you're heading down the Jeffries tube, you can hear energy relays below you that are active, but you don't hear any footsteps currently. I assume you want to proceed. Well, you have a choice. You have two choices really: to just proceed down or up. The energy relays that you're hearing appear to be the sound appears to be going down or below you.
Okay. Do I pick up any life signs on my tricorder?
Yes, in the Jeffries tube specifically, since obviously you'd get lots since it's a
Mhm.
ship full of people. There is someone moving quickly through the Jeffries tubes, heading back towards the foreground, the fore of the ship.
Okay. Yeah, I am going to pursue, but if I get to one of those randomly placed convenient terminals that they sporadically place throughout Jeffries tubes, I'm going to see if I can arrest a force field in front of that individual.
Okay. All right, you're making your way down through the tubes, moving as quickly as you can. Whoever you're chasing is obviously quite agile, as they are also making their way through the tubes quickly. You get to one of those conveniently placed panels and go ahead and give me an engineering and insight roll before you give me anything else.
Okay. Engineering insight. I assume I don't have a focus.
I don't
I don't
have
think
that
so.
sheet in front of me,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So.
Transporters and replicators and electroplasma power systems.
No.
Cool. Difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be 2.
Okay. No, we'll just roll straight. I'm not going to generate threat on this. Oof, only one.
One success, no complications. Because I didn't change the complication range. I should have done that. You quickly notice that there is something amiss with the council here. It appears to be booby trapped. Oh, you only got one success.
I only got one success.
You do not notice it as booby
I do
trapped.
not notice this. Beep 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 beep.
It promptly begins to spark and overheat and shunt electricity through itself. Doesn't hurt you, but the council does shut down, and you see the lights in the section that you are on go off. Which point on the bridge, there is notification at whoever is sitting at the ops or flight station, depending on what you guys, whichever one's a PC manned one, that there is a power outage in Jeffries Tube 8, section whatever I said last time, which I don't remember right now. Section 4. 8-4.
I think Lieutenant Silva makes sense for that.
Sure.
Sitting at home, she'll observe that the power has gone out, and she'll go, "Hey, are we doing any maintenance on this sector?" To nobody in particular.
Yeah. There's nothing reported, Ensign. One of the duty officers reports.
Well,
or lieutenant. I think Silva's lieutenant. Sorry. Go ahead.
It looks like we've got an outage. I don't know. Let me look and find out who the closest technician is, and she'll speak to the computer, I guess. Computer, what's the closest technician to this node?
I assume Tong still has his communicator on.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
It appears Ensign Tong is in that corridor.
Oh, well, he must have done it. And then she'll click her comm badge. Tong, did you burn out something? We're showing a outage here up here on the bridge.
Yes. Something is happening. I am in pursuit. Please direct security to when I send whatever Jeffries tube exit is over there.
It's decade section 4, but yeah, no, you send it to the appropriate,
Yeah.
receptacle.
Decade section 4. I'm in pursuit.
Lady Silva will sit up straight, not expecting that answer. Okay, I guess it's a security alert. She'll computer bring the ship to security alert. Notify a security team.
All right. The ship goes to essentially red alert, which I imagine piques the interest of a captain and/or an Ambrose. Security, you're heading down. Mills, I assume that'll be you, and probably Koba.
Sure, maybe we're at
would
ball.
make sense, but for RP, should we leave Mills out of this one if what I think is happening is happening?
Possibly.
Okay.
I'm trying to think where I wanted this to go exactly, but
Okay.
so all right. You're heading down. Security is heading down. Oh my goodness, my screen just messed up on me. All right, anyway, I just got a grid all on my screen for no reason. Technology's hating me today. You guys are security's heading down to that section. Tong, you are trying to make your way that way as well. It's much more difficult now with the lights off. You get that little hand light out, and hold it right next to your eye, because that just makes perfect sense. And you're making your way through when, give me a security, security and insight roll. And if you fail the roll, you're going to be attacked.
Okay.
Difficulty.
Security insight.
Difficulty is going to be 2.
Security insight. Yeah. I have a target of 12 there. Yeah, I don't think I can do anything about that but give you threat.
Okay.
Normal complication range.
Normal complication range.
You know what? It's not Ambrose, so it's not going to be as dramatic, but sure, I'll give you a threat to roll an extra dice there.
All right, I'll take it.
Because this is an incredibly stupid situation that Tong is in. It
Right.
deserves some threat.
I already added it to my sheet, so go ahead.
Ow.
Thanks.
I'm not doing it.
1 success. So, Tong, you're going to find yourself slightly phasered.
Okay.
And by find yourself, I mean, let me roll damage and see if you find yourself, or if someone finds you later.
Mm-hmm.
Light phasering.
Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. With 8, 9, 10, 11. So it'd be a total of 11 damage to you. 11 stress to you, sir.
That is my entire stress bar.
All right. So you will find yourself later waking up somewhere else.
Yep.
So Tong goes around the corner and finds himself slightly unconscious.
Yeah, I'm crawling forward on my elbows because Jeffrey's tube.
Right.
I got my little hand light out, which is really hard to crawl with, because why would you design a light that you have to hold like this?
Right.
I just halt! Stop! You're under.
All right. With that, a few seconds later, the Jeffrey's tubes, or the security arrives at the Jeffrey's tube terminal where they are, where Tong had directed them. And after a minute or so of waiting, no one appears. Mills, you can go ahead and be there. You and Koba are waiting. Koba and Mills. That's not Mills. That's Mar.
That's not Mills.
Mills. Waiting for Tong to come out of the hole, or someone or anyone to come out of the Jeffrey's tube hole, and no one does. What are you guys going to do?
I will calm Ensign Tong.
You get no response.
Just look at Koba with an expression of "Let's go."
We'll nod and follow.
All right. Going in.
You head into Jeffrey's tube. After a few after a few 100 feet on your hands and knees with those little stupid flashlights, you get past one of the junction points, and there's a hand phaser that is lying there, just a little Type 1 hand phaser. And just a short distance from that, maybe not even 10 feet, there is a very unconscious Tong. The phaser, when you look at it, is set to like the lowest level of stun.
Okay.
Clearly, whoever it was trying not to incinerate the ensign.
Right. I'll calm the sick bay. Mills to medical. We will be incoming with Ensign Tong. He is unconscious. Appears to have taken a phaser blast. Set to stun. Should be fine. But want to get him checked out.
Right. And that's a good place to do the intro roll. Even though I still can't get my camera to work.
God only knows what'll happen.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're back. Captain's log, go ahead.
Captain's log, stardate 52882.51. Now, there's an old troll axiom: all troublemakers come from the same spawn pool. I think we're about to find out if that's right. While trying to arrange passage through Romulan space to the lost world of Iconia to put a stop to a group of rogue Klingons, we've uncovered that somebody has been sabotaging Eva's program. I can only hope that my crew can get a handle on our ship so we can get underway.
All right. Anybody want to start anywhere? We have a number of scenes that we left off last session. Loose ends, as it were.
Well, I think it's safe to say that a security alert would get to the captain, so he is definitely going to return to the ship.
Yep.
Given all the issues we've had.
Let's I imagine Hage would probably have heard by now that, Tong was found in the Jeffries tube and whatnot. So let's go ahead and actually start this out with no way for Tong to hide from the captain. And the captain is in sick bay with a recovering Tong who has been treated by the good doctor. He will recover from his wounds fully. He is not injured in any way.
And gotten
Other
a
than his
stern
pride.
lecture from Mills about calling for backup and not going to tubes alone after saboteurs.
We didn't use that one on camera. I was about to say it with the captain probably. So, but anyway, Captain, essentially that there was a security alert and Tong was in the corridor looking for somebody.
Ensign Tong, how are you feeling?
The doctor has seen that I am well, sir.
That's good. When I heard that one of my engineers had been ambushed in a Jeffries tube, I got worried. Do you mind telling me what happened?
Of course, sir. I noticed a problem in the nearby Jeffries tube, a number of issues that I was going to check out, and I traced that to the Jeffries tube, and I was looking into the situation when I noticed some sabotage when a panel blew up in my face, sir. And then I proceeded and got shot, sir.
So you noticed sabotage in the ship, but you didn't think to call in a security alert?
I did inform whoever was on the communicator when that happened, sir.
Well, I'll have to check the communicator logs to see if that's the case. I was told that you were the one contacted when you were found to be in the area after a power surge.
Yes, that was a sabotage that I noticed when it exploded, sir.
Ensign Tong, Starfleet likes a little bit of recklessness in its officers. It does. Old tradition going back hundreds of years. One thing it won't tolerate, though, is lying. Are you telling me the whole truth?
Well, truths can be very long, sir.
I've got time.
Right. Well, sir, I noticed at some point there was some interesting communications that we couldn't really identify. So I was looking into them, and I didn't really think anything much of them at the time. And then I noticed that they led somewhere, and that somewhere was strange, sir. So I looked into that because that was strange, and I set something up so that if it happened again, I would know, and then I could make sure it was actually something, sir. And I was in the process of doing that said something investigation, sir, and then I got shot.
You went into a potentially dangerous situation alone, and for your trouble, you managed to get knocked out and left in a corridor.
Yes, sir.
We're going to have another talk about this.
Of course, sir.
Right now, you concentrate on getting better. After that, we'll figure out. I want a full report. No half-truths or omissions. I want everything. What you found, where you found it. We're going to put this in Starfleet security's hands. The people who it should have been in the hands of in the first place. Not Starfleet security, but the security department's hands.
Yes, sir. Of course, sir. I'll have a report for you right away, sir.
He'll pat his knee. All right, get better. And then he'll leave.
Cool. I got my camera working.
Hey,
Yay.
And that was a good scene. I like that scene. Anybody else have anything they want to do real quick before we move into something else?
I definitely want to see the part 2 to that scene, because there's definitely a part 2 to that scene.
Yeah. All right. So what's next for you guys?
I mean, I feel like Jorad would leave a sweep of the ship to Arani,
Sure.
since he's head of security. And, as I said, security should be in charge of this.
Right. So Ambrose clearly is, I assume Tong is going to actually submit a report.
Oh, yes.
Tong being an obedient.
Yeah, right away, really, and as thorough as Tong can be. So this is going to be a really long, really repetitive,
Right.
really badly written report.
It's going to contain things like what he ate for breakfast and what time the replicator. Like he's going to reference all the logs and give links to all
yeah.
the logs. And
Oh yeah, like a lot of really well-written technical information, and then a lot of just stumbling and cyclical thinking and
Right.
whatnot when it actually comes to application of doing things.
Right. So Ambrose, you get your security teams working on investigating the ship. Do you have anything you want to do with that, or do you want to skip that and just say that the ship is being the security breaches are being investigated by ship security?
Well, yeah, I mean, first off, no one in or out of the ship. Ship's on lockdown.
Right.
Inform the station of what happened. File that sort of report. Make sure that everybody knows no one in, no one out. That includes both the airlocks and, of course, transporters.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, we'd probably take all but one down.
Right.
And then just send out security teams to sweep the ship. And we did find Mills did find the hand phaser, so I want to get that to the doctor and see if they can get any prints or DNA off of it.
Yeah, Koba's got forensics, so he could sweep the scene of the attack for any kind of
Perfect.
DNA traces.
All right.
And probably have somebody work with one of the security teams, probably the one that Koba's on, actually, somebody from engineering, who is not Tong, to work with Koba on checking out the actual sabotage.
All right. Let's go ahead and have Dasavi and Koba in one of the bio bays doing some forensics. We can start with giving me a roll. Let me see my sheets here. Let's get a control or reason and medicine versus, or science. I'll take science for that one too. Versus reason and security with not versus, but assisted by reason and security with the focus in forensics.
Right, so why don't you take the main role on that, Brian, and I'll take the assist.
Well,
Because you just want
Koba's
me
science.
to roll the one to assist, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the main role
will be Koba. It'll be reason and security.
Okay. Come on.
Wow, I am no help.
I'm going to generate a threat.
You should have rolled. Okay, there we go. Oh, yes, you are going to generate a threat. So that's a 20, a 4, and a 3. Plus, you gave me a threat for doing that.
That is 4 successes.
4 successes for you and 1 for her, right?
Nope.
No, 2.
So
No,
5
sorry.
total.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I rolled
Dasavi,
over.
yeah.
My target was 15.
4
Right.
total.
For the ship cannot assist, I'm going to use my complication at the moment to do something else. You definitely get DNA off of it. You get 2 types of DNA off of it, in fact, because of your complication. You get Romulan DNA and you get Vulcan DNA. You have, your difficulty would have been 2 for that, so you have 2 questions you can ask on that if you want to break that down some more. Since the doctor is working with you, you can get more specific than that if you need to.
You know what? I think I'm just going to generate the momentum.
Sure.
We need it.
All right. So you have Vulcan and Romulan DNA on the hand phaser and in the Jeffries tube area, as well as Ferengi.
I think we need to account for all Vulcan and Romulan crew members, which there's no Romulan crew members, so it's just Vulcan. See.
Yes.
I think we
Crew
have,
and civilian as
we have-
well.
Yeah, I think we have Teketh and Varen are the only main
Of the civilians. Yeah.
Vulcans.
Yeah,
We have
because Mara
but
is no
Mara
longer
is not on
aboard.
board.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. Those are the only two main. There's a few other.
Right. Presumably some, no name
there's a number
extras
of
we pulled
Vulcans, but
from under the bridge.
Yeah, there's a few more Vulcans, but that's about it. You've got maybe half dozen total, including Teketh and Varen.
So the first thing we'll do is we'll check their where the computer says they were at that time. So then see if any alibis check out. We do have a pretty limited window in which they had to have been there.
Yep. The computer reports that Varen was in the archaeology lab. The other 6 Vulcans were either in their quarters or duty labs. And it reports that Teketh was in the kitchen area of the main forward lounge.
Okay, so beyond secure or beyond computer ID, are any of them were any of them alone at that time?
Varen and Teketh were both alone at that time, and then those who were in their rooms. Well, actually, the ones in the rooms probably weren't alone because they're probably all lower officers, so they at least bunk with one other person. So
sure. Well, then I think Koba will go to Orani and say, Commander Ambrose, well, I've narrowed it down to 2 suspects. They're both Vulcans, the only Vulcans in the crew who don't have an alibi that checks out.
Okay, what are we looking at?
Well, Specialist Varen and Teketh, the bartender. It could also have been somebody stowing away. I can't rule that out. But out of the crew that the computer is aware of, those are the only 2 that could have been there. It is definitely Vulcan DNA, or it's definitely Vulcan or Romulan DNA.
The Romulan part of that equation concerns me. We obviously don't have any Romulan crew. Is it possible that, I'm sure it's entirely possible that a Romulan agent snuck aboard the ship since we've been docked? The ship usually identifies crew at the very least by comm badges. Let's see if we can get a general life sign scan of the ship and see if we can find anyone stowing away. If it is a Romulan agent, I'm sure they have a way around that, but see if we can scan for any pockets of the ship that, well, can't be scanned, that might have a blind spot or might have an echo.
Sure. So I think Yezabeth would be the best perfect person to do that.
Sure.
So she gets calmed and she says, wait, you want me to turn the sensors? You wanted me to turn our sensors into the ship?
Yes, an internal sensor sweep.
Well, that's. I mean, I can use the sensor pod. We'll get tremendous amounts of resolution out of it. You know what? That sounds like fun. Let me see what I can do. And so she'll go to the sensor pod and she'll like refract it through using the deflector array, and she'll turn the outboard sensors inward and scan the ship for any life signs.
Okay. There's no roll required for that. But you definitely, I don't need you guys to generate too much momentum here. A little bit, but anyway, it doesn't take long for you to be able to do that. You do note though that there's going to be some areas of the ship that are going to be more difficult to scan, just because of the high energy output they put. Like the main engineering is harder to scan. Stuff around the main warp nacelles and the main warp core. However, those areas can be scanned pretty easily by hand. You do not detect any abnormalities in the ship as far as life signs go.
So between a coordinated effort of ship sensors as well as hand sensors, we are able to determine that there's no additional people on
there. There are presently no additional persons aboard ship that are not accounted for. There's no one hiding in the in the hidden parts of the ship.
Right.
It takes a little while, but yeah, you can get a pretty good, a 99.9% accurate, detailed scan of the ship. And there's a gnat down here. It's pissing me off.
So I think Yezebeth will contact Commander. Commander, I couldn't possibly be more certain, but I don't think there's anybody on the ship who's not accounted for.
Okay, I was almost hoping we had a breach. Good work, Ensign.
Thanks. So
Right. Whilst those scans are going on and you guys are figuring out what steps you want to take next, but during the scan, Hage, you receive a communication from Trill.
Okay.
I have to find the communication. Stand by.
Sure.
So oh crap, that's the wrong one. Here we go. So you were contacted by someone you recognize as soon as they come on screen. It's an very old man, probably early 90s. His name is Andel. He is the former husband of one of your previous hosts, which we discussed earlier.
Right.
You can see that he doesn't look well. His eyes are sunken and his skin is paler than it would normally, even for a man of his advanced age. And there is a someone of likely to be a nurse behind him who looks displeased by his insistence on this phone call being made. This call being made. Calder, is that you, Calder? As he squints.
Jorad will look visibly disturbed and he'll go, Andel, no, Calder's deceased.
Oh, yes.
I'm Jorad. I'm Jorad.
Hage, yes. Jorad, yes. I followed your career some. I'm not well, Hage, and I have some belongings that I want you to have. It has been a long time since I've seen you, and I want come to Trill one time. I have things that belong to Calder.
You're not well? What's wrong?
Some damn thing the nurses tell me I've... The nurse kind of comes up behind him and leans in, and she just kind of shakes her head a little bit, and he's not... It's a tumor, and he's not long. She kind of cleans him up a little bit and sets him back up on the chair, and then he kind of, gestures for her to get off of him, and leave me alone. Blasted. Always tampering and fiddling in places they don't belong. Doctors. You're not a doctor, are you, Hage?
No, not in this lifetime.
Yeah, small favors. Come to Trill, Hage. Come.
I'm afraid I'm quite far from Trill. And even if I could, we both know that that's a bad idea.
Damn the commission. I don't care about that. You're not fraternizing with an old... I'm long past that. It's important to me, Hage. One time. Please, tell me you'll come.
He hesitates a long moment and then he says, I'm in the midst of I'm in the midst of something right now. Let me, perhaps when the situation is resolved, we can speak again.
He kind of nods and yeah, says, make it soon. And then he cuts off the camera.
Jorad like brings his hand up and just like runs it over his face. He's obviously shaken up by this. But then he says, sorry for the personal communication. We've got an intruder just fine. Let's concentrate on that.
All right. Anybody else have anything they want to do? Back to Ambrose and whatnot for that, or anybody else got anything else they want to do other than that?
I feel like Silva's gonna do some looking around on her own.
Okay.
Because she wants to get in Starfleet intelligence. She knows the security team's not gonna invite her on it on any spycraft. So she's gonna do some unconventional looking around.
All right. Gonna get some on your own investigation time in. Gonna talk to Tong at all, or just kind of go do your thing?
I think she's just gonna do her thing. Like she'll trying to think of an interesting way to do this.
Where would you start?
She wouldn't know as much as everybody else.
Sure.
But, I think she would start at the communications logs. She would know that if somebody, if there was an infiltrator on board, they would have had to send multiple messages. So she's going to look for like embedded messages within the communications log to see if she can come up with some kind of pattern that matches with like duty shifts.
Okay. That's going to be an extended task, I think.
Okay.
Also, the difficulty is going to be 2.
Okay.
The work would be 10 because it's default. The resistance on that is going to be 3 though, because it's obviously encrypted stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the duration on it will be, let's say, an hour between rolls.
When she realizes the enormity of the task, I think she'd try to get somebody to help her with this.
Sure.
Going outside channels.
Who are you gonna go with? Who are you gonna reach out to?
Anybody have any interesting ideas? I think it'd be Tom, actually.
Okay. So Silva can approach Tong. We'll see how that plays out.
Tong's unless Tong is on duty doing something specific, he's probably just back in his room sulking.
Sure. That'd be a good place to find him, in Tong's quarters.
Shared ensign quarters with 1, 2, 3 other people.
She'd chirp his door.
Yes.
She comes in, she's like got a data pad and she's just like patting it against her hand. And she's like, hey, how you doing? How are your lobes?
They're fine.
Well, good, because I've got a chance for you to redeem yourself if you're interested.
Uh-oh. I seem to have frozen. Oh,
I can still hear you at least.
We can hear you. Oh, you're good now.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Yay.
I don't know, Lieutenant.
Look, hey, I would have done exactly the same thing in your place. I know, I get why you didn't want to intervene anybody else. Why you didn't want to bring anybody else into it. I get it. But I think I've got an idea. But it's not my area of expertise. So I'm hoping we can work together and come to the captain, or come to Commander Ambrose and tell him we figured it out. No.
That was the plan.
Then let's do it. It doesn't have to be over. We just don't have to crawl through any air ducts.
I suppose if Lieutenant were to ask me for my professional assistance in a matter to resolve this situation, I would be obligated as an ensign to oblige, sir.
That's the spirit. Now, I've been trying to go over the communications log, looking for any subcutaneous signals. I figure if somebody's been on board, and they would have had to be able to be here a while to do as the amount of damage they've been doing. Maybe we can figure out who it is if they've been sending out any kind of outgoing messages.
Yes, that was one of the first things I noticed. If I go back on these extensive notes I've taken over the past several weeks.
Oh, these are fantastic. Well, let's see if we can't get through this encryption, figure out who's been sending this.
Of course, I traced it through the power systems to strange things used to relay a signal that really aren't designed to relay a signal. It really was incredibly ingenuitive works. Whoever is doing this has a fairly expert grasp on engineering systems in a very unconventional manner, and also access to very expensive equipment. I wonder if they ever got that.
Well, the one thing that they wouldn't have been able to get around is the fact that they'd have to be on duty sometimes. I brought the duty rosters. I brought the duty rosters for the last 2 months. I figure we can cross-reference and see if we can't figure out who it was that way.
Well, it would take some time to shunt that amount of information through systems that aren't designed to have that amount of information. So if we can determine that somebody was not accounted for in a professional capacity during all of those extended times, that could narrow down a suspect. Yes,
that's what I'm thinking too. And she'll plop herself on the bed next to him and hand him the data pad, and they'll get to work.
All right, go ahead and give me a roll. With Tong's assistance, or whoever wants to make the base roll, doesn't matter.
Can I roll security for my role with the espionage focus, or should it be?
Yeah, I would say probably daring, and if you're doing it quickly, I'd say daring. If you're not doing it, if you're trying to do it thoroughly, it would be control.
Trying to do it quickly.
Yeah, so daring and security with espionage, and then Tong, you can probably do either daring or reason or control. Either of those would really work, plus engineering.
Okay.
I'll, roll to spend a momentum.
Nice.
That is 4 successes. 5 successes.
5 successes.
6
It was
successes.
hovering on that 20, and then it rolled over to an 8.
I watched it think about that for a
Yep.
little too long.
Yep.
6 successes.
6 successes. Where was I? Okay. So the difficulty was 2, so you have 4 momentum. Go ahead and roll your work track.
I do not have any
Talents or anything.
talents. Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. and 4 momentum. You have a resistance of 3.
We'll use one of those to decrease the penetration. So
So
nine.
that'll give you 6 with 3 momentum to spend.
Yeah. So that's 9 total. If I put those towards work, which I will.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're making pretty good progress in your first hour of work. You can definitely see you've eliminated a lot of people in the first hour going through the data, especially considering you don't have, Eva or anyone to assist with this. The computer is not assisting at the moment. Excuse me. So yeah, we'll leave it there and see if we can find something else to do and come back to you guys.
Okay. I would love to see. I would love to see Evelyn get some game time. It feels like Jack and I have been going back and forth for a while now.
Good. I have a good place for O'Connor to break in there if necessary.
I actually have a
In
place right now.
that,
We can have O'Connor step in right now if you really want to, because someone's gonna be looking after Eva or taking,
Yeah.
getting into the Eva stuff, and that's pretty much you.
Yep,
Yeah.
we can do that.
You and Hage probably actually.
Okay. Yep. So I guess we're down in the shuttle bay since that's where Eva is.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Either that, or if you want to be in the main core system trying to figure out anything that's going on in there. If you're talking to Eva, if you want to talk to Eva, yes, it would be in shuttle. It would be in the underside of the ship in the actual, because the arrow wing actually attaches to the bottom of the saucer section,
Sure.
much like the other yachts.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I think we'd probably be in the computer core then.
Put you in the AI access control, which is where Coaster went and shut everything down.
Yeah.
And then that's Hage and O'Connor. And I don't think other than Tong, I don't think Jack has anybody who would fit in here. So what's that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. So you're going over the work one that Coaster did to turn her off. Also how she managed to shunt herself into the, to back herself up. She didn't really turn herself off. She didn't really relocate herself as much as back herself up into the arrow wing in case something were to happen. She is still somewhat active she is still definitely active in the AI system. She just has no connection to anything. So you definitely can communicate with her inside of this control facility. The damage, the quote unquote damage that Coaster has done is completely reversible. Although some of it was done quickly, not done recklessly, but clearly done in a rapid fashion. So it probably a little bit more than had to be taken offline was. Again, though, Coaster is not an expert in positronic systems and whatnot, so it's to be expected and nothing that can't be reversed. But yeah, go ahead and give me, to start with, a control and science roll with a focus, if you have it, in either computer systems or positronic systems.
I have computer analysis systems, but
That'll
not-
work.
Okay.
Can
Control,
Hage
science,
Hage assist with guidance so he can assist with command?
Yeah.
Cool beans. I will use a focus in team dynamics.
Please be nice. Oh, no.
Nice.
Take that.
Is that 2? Is that 3 for you?
Only 2.
2. And then a third from
target's
Hage.
14.
So that succeeds with 2 successes. 2 advantages. Difficulty was 1. You managed to reestablish voice command and that kind of thing. Obviously, Coaster never lost control of command functions, and you can see that the systems that Eva accessed without logged authorization was really only the main systems that she was like. She's accessed a lot of logs, but other than that, she hasn't accessed a whole lot of anything. I forgot what we actually said that caused the shutdown. I don't remember. I remember what it was, but I don't remember what it was.
She decided she felt she was being
Oh,
violated.
she turned off the doctor, the EMH.
The
Yeah.
doctor was looking into some connection between Dionysia and the Iconian situation,
Right.
and then Eva perceived that as a threat to her existence and shut him down.
Right. So while you're searching her systems, probably I assume at least to figure out what that connection might be, you don't find anything that would be particularly egregious. Like there was nothing being like all the data is all there. You can access it. What you see basically is just it appears as though him simply breaching her computer core, like going into her AI system to retrieve data, was the cause of the breach. Not necessarily the information he was trying to access, but the actual where the information is located is what it appears. Because the information that you locate the information, no problem, and you note that it's nothing of consequence, really. I mean, it would help a doctor figure out some stuff, but it wouldn't be. It's not like classified information or anything like that. So you guys can go from there.
Age will say out loud, it's strange. It's almost like a teenager slamming their door on somebody.
Sort of. I see it more like sort of the natural reaction to having your mind probed.
I suppose she didn't take any aggressive actions at us. She hasn't tried anything since then. Maybe we should talk to her.
She hasn't really been able to try anything since then. What doesn't make sense, sir, is the EMH is essentially part of Eva, and she is designed to be essentially a large catalog of information. This should not have been considered a breach. Perhaps if perhaps if the access had been made by an unauthorized ship or an unauthorized user, but not by one of her own crew.
Well, their data matrices might be the same, but their personality matrices are very different. It may be it may be that Eva perceived a more emotional breach rather than a logical one.
Which then again comes back to whether or not she's sentient.
From a technical standpoint, they are separate. He's stored in a different core than she is. He is an independent program from her.
Okay.
Just so that's a
yeah.
She would view him more as a crew member than anything else.
Okay.
Do you find any signs that somebody I know there were some signs of tampering. Can you figure out who did the tampering and what they might have been trying to do?
I can try to trace it. Remind me, Jack, did Tong in his initial stammering debrief mention the device? Or not yet?
Which of the many devices that Tong has found are you referring
the
to?
initial device that he found,
and
the weird octopus baseball thing?
Not in his talk with Hage. That would be in his report, which, depending on the amount of time has gone past, may have.
Right.
I feel like we would have read that.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, at the very least, Hage would have.
Yeah.
Well, Hage would want O'Connor to know what's going on.
Sure.
If I can examine that device, I may be able to better pinpoint origin and who might have access.
as a reminder, to you guys, you also did Tong and Define also discovered the RNA sequence in the biogel packs, and Eva uses the biogel packs as part of her system.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if Evelyn remembered that or not.
I did not.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a biogel pack issue. I mean, the communication spy issue might be tangentially related. I'm not ruling out that it's not the same person doing it, but I don't think they're.
Yeah,
I think they're two different issues right now.
We're focused on Eva right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes,
I'm with you.
Tong and whoever he was working with,
Define.
Define, probably Define actually would have wrote that report, so you guys would know about the.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's something that O'Connor probably would. That report would certainly be available to O'Connor because that's probably the reason you're down here.
Right. Makes sense. All right. I'll amend that statement a bit. Certainly, I can look into this RNA sequence in the gel packs and try and track down who would have the access and the authorization and the knowledge.
Concentrate right now on what they were trying to do. We'll leave the finding out who soon, but let's figure out how this is affecting Eva so we can get her back online.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah, that's what you guys want to do in that scene? No. Okay.
No.
Just sounded like you were going to say something there. Is all. So, all right. Later that well, actually, we won't skip quite that far ahead yet. Let's go ahead and go back to Tong and was it just who was helping him?
Silva.
Silva, right? Tong and Silva, and finishing up that role to try to sort out some of that information.
I'll use another momentum. Much worse roll. Minding my luck wouldn't hold out. That is 0 successes for me. Nope, I'm sorry, 1 success for me.
Well, that is at least 1 success in assistance.
That's 2.
Right. 2 is all you needed. I am going to take those complication points and just put them banked. So.
Okay.
One, 2, 3 is all you get there. But since
Not enough to get through the
the resistance is there, so you guys basically you hit a bit of a brick wall on the second hour. You're digging through and you're finding, but clearly whoever this is very, very good at faking where they are. You've got accountability for every person in every location for every time that they say they are, but you're also getting a shadow from time to time during the time periods. Like you've located a number of transmissions, and you're trying to narrow down who could have sent them, kind of thing, right? That was your plan.
Yeah.
You have found a number of transmissions, maybe a half dozen or so transmissions over the course of a month or so. There's a slight pattern to them, but it doesn't. It seems more of like a it's less of a pattern of when they're sent and more of a pattern of how they're sent. Like it's a different. The pattern is that it is different almost every time, and it's encrypted in a different subsystem each time. So what you're finding difficult though is you're able to account for every crew member at every crew member and civilian crew member during each of the incidences. However, there is usually a shadow in the log prior to, like, within an hour or two prior to the actual message being sent, meaning that someone is faking where they are and where they actually are. So they're leaving, either they're leaving their comm badge somewhere and going off somewhere, or they're setting up some kind of bio energy field to manipulate to make it look like the sensors show the person being in the one place when they're actually somewhere else. Which is why it's, you've hit this brick wall.
Okay. Is it okay if we do a little bit of role playing before we move on to the next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Silva will I think by this point she's like, laying on Tong's bed with like her head hanging off the feet of the bed, like with the data pad upside down. And she's just going through it and she's seeing these shadows after shadows. And she's like, I haven't seen anything this sophisticated since the Obsidian Order.
Well, I don't know much about the Obsidian Order, sir, but yes, this is about where I met a bit of a wall when I was attempting this on my own. Yeah, lot of information going a lot of different places, and none of it leading back to anyone specific.
Oh, we're not going to let that stop us.
No, sir.
Hey, can I ask you something?
Of course, sir.
What's it like being look, I know Starfleet says that they're, that Earth likes to pretend that they're past prejudice and all that, but you're a Ferengi. You've got to have some people who have prejudices, have certain assumptions about you, at least. How do you deal with that?
Well, it helps to wear the uniform, I suppose. Well, for some people, not for others. Not many Ferengi really appreciate this the Starfleet uniform. Kind of goes against centuries and centuries of how our society has defined itself. And then, I suppose everybody else does, see me as a Ferengi first and foremost. I suppose that is true, but I mean, there's been a lot of very interesting reform on Ferenginar the past few years or so. So maybe reputations will change.
Well, I think you're doing your part to change it. I know a lot of people I've met seem to see Ferengi differently now that they've seen you.
Right. I just try to live up to the expectations of a Starfleet officer.
Yeah, I guess for some people it's easy. Some people it's hard. I know I've had trouble trying to fill the shirt.
It's a difficult shirt to fill. Starfleet has a history of quite exceptional people.
Yeah, definitely that. I think
Sounds like
that's
a good place. Yep.
Yeah, that's good for me.
Does anybody else have anything they want to do real quick, or no? All right, I'll take that as a no.
We might want to go back to the interrogation of the Vulcans.
We will get back to that.
Okay.
First, though, Commander Ambrose, you receive a message from the station.
Okay.
The sub-commander comes on the screen. Commander Ambrose, I trust that things are going better on the Europa. I've heard you've had some kind of security crackdown.
Routine personnel check. Everything aboard ship is exactly as it should be.
Of course it is. I was wondering then, since nothing pressing has you occupied, if you would be willing to meet with me. I have some things I want to discuss with you.
I can make time for that, of course.
Thank you. I'll see you soon. And she sends you a location for a meet.
Okay.
Going to go to that, or do you want to jump back to something else on the ship? Let's go back to the Vulcans real quick while we got that going. While Ambrose's headed over there. Who was interrogating the Vulcans?
Koba, maybe Mills. I don't know. I'm the only one who doesn't have a Vulcan, so I feel like it should be Koba.
Right.
Mhm.
Let's do. I need PCs here. Player characters. Okay, so let's do Vren,
Yep.
and Koba can go start on that one.
And say if we don't want to interrogate them together, which we probably strategically should not, we could have Koba and Mills interrogate Bren, and then Mills needs to get called away to deal with the thing or shore up security somewhere else or whatever, leaving Koba to interrogate Teketh.
That's fine. So you guys are in. I assume you've invited Vren not to the brig, but to somewhere less.
You're invited to the brig.
You were invited to the brig.
You are cordially invited to sit in this box.
So we'll say that you're like one of the security offices, no
Mhm.
doubt. And therein you are.
We're probably in one of those little conference rooms.
Right.
So let's go over this again. Where were you at the time at 1644 ship time?
I believe at that specific hour, I was in one of the research labs performing my duties, looking into the Iconian incident and any related historical documentation that I might be able to enlighten the staff on.
I see. Do you always do your investigations all alone? Nobody else there to see where you're going?
As I'm sure you are aware, I am not an official member of Starfleet and therefore not necessarily bound by your specific regulations and schedules. This is as much of a pet project to me as it is a professional duty.
Well, maybe you can satisfy some curiosity for me. What
Of
made
course,
you
Lieutenant.
want? What made you want to go onto a Starfleet ship in the first place? You are a civilian after all.
I am also an archaeologist and a xenoanthropologist, and the best way to visit other planets and learn of their histories is to actually visit them through space transportation.
I see. Have you ever studied the Romulans? He does air quotes. Have you ever studied the Romulans?
Studied the Romulans. Of course, Romulan history is, as much as we know of it, is well taught on Vulcan. They are a distant relation to ours, and the political connections between our two people have been growing in importance.
And if a Romulan was to come to you and say, "Oh, let's have closer relationships. All we need you to do is plant a few bugs in this starship," what would your response be to that?
I would respond that that is a highly illogical way to pursue a mutually beneficial relationship.
What would be a logical way to pursue a mutually beneficial relationship? I know from my, granted, not direct understanding, the relationship between the Romulans and the Vulcans is tepid at best.
I suppose you could say that. I apologize. Was there a question there that I missed?
What would be the logical way to pursue a relationship? To
Well, if your hypothetical situation extends specifically to myself and the Europa, there are indeed Vulcan ambassadors on this station who would be able to approach myself, or most likely an actual member of Starfleet, specifically likely the diplomatic corps. Other than that, personal relationships aside, anything beyond, say, your friendly lunch would have to go through the proper channels.
And what if somebody decided you were the proper channel? Would you report it to Starfleet security?
I am certainly not the proper channel.
But if
No, but as you pointed out, you are not held to the same regulations and standards as Starfleet. If a Romulan infiltrator were to attempt to sabotage or spy on the ship, you might be the most logical choice.
I fail to see the logic in that. As you said, relations between our two people is tepid at best. As a non-Starfleet officer, I have very limited access to the ship and carry very little weight between its crew and the administration of Starfleet itself. My expertise is mainly through Vulcan history and the history of Federation planets, most of which is well documented in Federation databases. I would be a most illogical contact for a spy.
You have access enough, and you are well renowned in your field and well respected and pronouns.
But if
I might
somebody
lose
were,
power.
if somebody were to come to you, you would report it to Starfleet, is what you're saying.
Of course.
Have you seen any other of your fellow Vulcans acting suspiciously? Any of them doing anything un-Vulcan?
Vulcans do not tend to act suspiciously, and I'm not sure how a Vulcan would act un-Vulcan.
busy all week.
Yeah. All right. So with that drama, what happened? Let me explain. Is that I lost power. There's a storm going on. I'm probably gonna lose power again. So we're gonna wrap this scene up, and then we'll wrap up a session and bring it back next time around, which we will be starting at an earlier time, starting next week. So we last left off. I believe that Mills was trying to talk to Vren. I don't know where you guys were in that conversation. So
Yeah, I'm not sure where you lost us.
The last thing I heard was Vren was trying to say that it didn't make logical sense for her to be the traitor, whatever, and then she had limited access, and then I think you had replied with that she had significant
Access enough.
and access enough, and that's where I left off.
I think it's about where we noticed you were gone. So okay.
Yeah.
So picking up from there, you're correct. You do have limited access, but at the same time, you have access enough. You are well respected. Your reputation precedes you, and you are often on the ship unsupervised.
Koba will point his finger, and there's nothing logical about treason.
In the current situation, I would agree with you. There is no logical
I'm
reason
frozen
to
now.
overthrow any government
God
within
damn
the
it.
Federation.
I unfortunately missed all of that because I froze.
Oh.
I got Koba pointing his finger, and there's nothing logical, and then everything stopped.
He said there's nothing logical about treason, and then she agreed.
Okay. All right.
You didn't miss much.
Well, good.
That there was no reason to overthrow a government in the Federation.
Is there anything else we want out of this scene? It seems like we're going. I think the momentum is
circles.
kind of thrown off, but it seems like we're kind of going
Yeah.
circular.
Yeah. That's fine. Do you want to hit the other side of the interrogation, or do you want to? We'll just hold off and try that one next time.
If you
Pick
think
up with that.
If you think your internet will last, I'm up for it. But
I've got red bar at the moment showing my connection, so I
I-
don't know.
Kind of would rather wait because
right.
between your red bar and me freezing all over the place and brownouts,
Yeah.
I don't want to try to get into this again and then lose momentum again.
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
I think we are not telling good story at this point,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, the storm picked up, and hey, look, my pictures of my dog and my camping trip on from my camera.
Mhm.
Oh, yay. Look at that.
Yeah. And then my thumb trying to get the camera working again. All right, so we'll just go ahead and wrap it up there. We're gonna go ahead and we'll just skip the wrap up for tonight. That way
That's
we can get off.
frustrating and unfortunate.
Yeah.
It was very fun playing with y'all.
Yeah, it was. I was actually really enjoying this session.
Yeah, no, we've got some really good stuff that if the weather and the power were cooperating, we could tell some really good story tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we did see a lot of this coming. We knew early today the storm was going to be bad. I was just hoping we could
I'm still glad we tried.
weather it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It was a bad pun. Yeah, no, I agree. Trying it was definitely worthwhile. Yeah, we'll pick this back up next week with the interrogation of Teketh. Actually, you know what? We'll probably pick up with Ambrose meeting with Toshiri, and then jump into the stuff after that. That way we can have a little bit of that.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
unless we come up with something better, that's what we'll do. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and end the roll the end credits. Thanks for joining us, and I'm sorry for the power outage.